So our theme this week is about eradicating poverty. Monday was the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, and hence we took the opportunity to have the discussion. Yesterday we were talking about the definition of poverty according to the World Bank, according to different countries, what is relative poverty, etc. And you can find that content on our website. You go to the featured section, and under the theme tab, you'll find the content of the theme discussions that we have every day on the program. It's also on the Radio Islam newsletter, for which you can subscribe from the Radio Islam website. Now, the question this morning is that in keeping with our theme this week about eradicating poverty, how should we respond to beggars? How do you see beggars in the main in South Africa today? Are they a nuisance, or can we do more to help them? We know about the Islamic guidelines, right? That it's always difficult to ascertain as to who is genuine and who is not. So err on the side of caution, and don't be aggressive, don't be rude, don't be insulting towards them. If you want to give, give. If you don't want to give, just say a kind word or politely decline. I know sometimes it can become irritating. You at a robot or a traffic light, and they kind of surround your car, they disturb your peace, they knock on the window, quite aggressively. They almost want to block the car, that you must give something before you can go. Then in that case, it's a separate matter. Now it's not about the begging, then it's about the behavior. Then you can be stern, you can be firm, you can say, please move and don't do this. But in general, I mean, if they're begging, if you feel that there's a legitimate need, you give. If you feel no, perhaps they're going to be buying certain narcotics with this, or they're going to be using this in the wrong way. And I'm not going to be part of it. Fair enough, but say a good word, or say nothing at all. Don't try not to be insulting, condescending, demeaning, because you never know. It may just be a genuine case, whilst you assume otherwise. So that's one thing. The other thing is okay, those who are genuine, how do we help them? There's been some good suggestions, over the years, like in this kind of hot weather, take your used water bottles and full water in there, and put it in the fridge or freezer, and then take it with you as you're driving and hand it over to them. They need they need cold water in such hot weather. That's a good thing to do. And there may be some other such projects. And there's one email that has come through. I'll read it out a little later in the program as well. When you feel that giving beggars is actually aiding wrongful behavior, then one is to abstain, you don't give. The other is, do you do something about it? How do you do something about it? Look, when you go to the Haramain, there's a lot of talk that there's actually syndicates there that get people to beg, and the money goes to these syndicates. Sometimes beggars are seen as scouts. They're out there just to see who's at home, who's not at home, and to inform those who intend to do house break-ins and that kind of thing. So at a criminal level, then it must be dealt with. At the security level, it must be dealt with. But we're talking about generally, how do you see beggars in South Africa? Do you see them as more of a nuisance in terms of how they conduct themselves, or is there more that we can do to help them? I've put up the question on Facebook and Twitter as well, and I look forward to your responses in that regard. You can also WhatsApp us on 072 786 1548. That's 072 786 1548. Just gone 13 minutes past 7. Coming up in a bit, we've got our hadith for the morning from Riyadh al-Salihin about showing compassion to the marginalized, the downtrodden, the weak, the poor, the needy. Kind of ties in with this discussion that we've just had here about beggars. Ibrahim Dean talks to us on the media lens at about 20 past 7. South Africa abstaining from that vote to condemn Russia for annexing parts of Ukraine. After 7:30, we do the words with Malana Waja, the competition. Tafsir al-Surat Banu Israel, we talk about the sanctity of life, the continuation of the discussion from yesterday. But we also then talk about the wealth of orphans. Again, a marginalized or a vulnerable group. At 7:45, we're talking about citizens of Amatolia in the Eastern Cape standing to lose 500 million rands of a maintenance and infrastructure grants because of negligence at the municipality. In the next hour, we're speaking about tap water. Is it safe in urban areas? They say yes, it is in the main, but more testing is required. We'll get more details. There has been talk doing the rounds at the moment that water, drinking water is not safe and that kind of thing. We'll also be focusing on Australia reversing recognition of West Jerusalem as Israel's capital. We'll speak to our guest, Dr. Gideon Polya in Australia. And we continue the discussion on poverty eradication. Today we'll be talking about the causes of poverty after having spoken, as I said, about the definition yesterday. So that's what you can look forward to between now and 8 o'clock in the second and the third hour of Sabahul Muslim Drive Time. The question is about beggars. So we look forward to your responses in that regard. But we also look forward to your responses on any of the other issues that we are discussing. We would really like to hear your thoughts and get your feedback in that regard. It's now 7:15. Let's move on to our hadith for the morning.
Hadith Discussions on Sabahul Muslim with Maulana Sulaimaan Ravat.
وعنه رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: الساعي على الأرملة والمسكين كالمجاهد في سبيل الله. وأحسبه قال: وكالقائم الذي لا يفطر وكالصائم الذي لا يفطر. متفق عليه. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu narrated, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, one who sees to the needs of the widows and the needy is like a mujahid in the path of Allah. And Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu says, I also think that he said, and like one who continuously spends the night in worship and one who fasts continuously. So here Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam highlighted two actions. One is to see to the needs of the widow, and the other is to see to the needs of the needy. So needy is general, widow is very specific. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, definitely Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said such a person is like a person who's out in the path of Allah. But I also think, subject to correction, that he said that such a person is like one who continuously spends the night in worship or one who continuously fasts. Why? Why such a great reward that when you look after the needs of the needy or a widow, you like a person who's constantly in the path of Allah, constantly in worship at night, constantly fasting. In terms of reward, you like that person. Why? Because you're working towards maintaining the honor of the weak. These are vulnerable categories of people, and you seeing how you can assist them. And doing this, looking after the widow, for an example, is something that requires great patience, great perseverance, great restraint. And that's why it secures and it earns a person so much of reward. You may get tempted towards evil. Your intentions may become corrupted. Very few people therefore support widows on a continuous basis. But when you do it and you do it right and with the right intentions, then it becomes a means of earning perpetual reward, like you constantly in the worship of Allah the entire night, or fasting the entire day, or perpetually in the path of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. So the pathways to Jannah are many, and you would see that Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala grants us accessibility towards the pathways of Jannah in serving the needs of those who are needy and those who are vulnerable. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala make us from amongst the fortunate ones. Just gone 17 minutes past 7 after the break. Media Lens with Ibrahim Deen.
This is